Hey guys, Jeff here. In today's video, we are talking about how to pour a concrete slab. Now, we're not doing a shed, or we're not doing anything massive. What we are doing is we're adding on to the front porch area of the house. I call it porch, but it's really just the entranceway. We got to do the concrete first though. So what I did is I ran down to the store, I got all my materials, I picked up a 6-pound bag of 4,000 PSI concrete, and this concrete at 2 to 3 inches, it gets what is labeled, okay? The bag itself is good for 1.5 square feet per bag if you pour 4 inches thick. So keep that in mind when you're framing up your concrete area, how many bags it takes. It takes a lot more than you think. I'm doing about 15 square feet, but I'm only going to go 2 to 3 inches. So I got 8 bags. I should be fine with that. I've also got this great little gray bin here. I'm going to use that to mix my concrete. I grabbed a garden hoe because I'm down here in Florida. I don't have any tools, so I got to buy every tool I need. I grabbed some expansion joints for me, okay, because I'm pouring my new slab up against old parts of the driveway. I got some stakes that I bought, and I got a magnesium float, and I got an edging tool to round off my edge, okay? I also bought aluminum flashing, and I'll tell you why. I am not doing a traditional slab. It's not a square. I could use 2x4s, and then I could do that and make life simple. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna extend my landing here, down here, gonna do a nice soft curve into this, bam, okay? No square edges. I'm gonna clean all this out. I'm gonna stake it. I'm gonna put it in my aluminum frame. Then I'm gonna mix my concrete, put it in here, smooth it, shape it, finish it. So that way I can remove all these garden edges, clean them up, and reinstate them with cleaned out here. We're gonna put in some plants and some mulch. We're gonna have this curve nice and soft right around to the front. So when you drive up to this house, everything looks very intentional. It's very soft. There's no hard curves. And when you get out of your car, you'll be able to actually walk to the front door without going through the dirt. Won't that be nice? What a huge improvement. I need garbage bags today because, well, I'm not gonna get a bin out here quite yet. I'm gonna order up the bin in about 2 weeks for the rest of the demolition on the front of the house. Remember, a lot of times bins nowadays, you pay for the volume and the time it's there. So you gotta be careful. It's not like the good old days where they just drop a bin off and come get it in a month. Nowadays, they wanna come get it about a week or so later, and then they start charging you per day to keep the bin on site. So you gotta manage that. I've got my concrete, I've got all my tools. This is all 160 bucks. Probably $15 of the garbage bags, all right? And I already own the shovel and the hammer and the knife. Take that out of the equation. So it's basically a $200 project, okay? We're gonna just jump into this right now because I've got to excavate my area, not just for the slab, but for the area where I'm putting the stakes, okay? So we're gonna make it a little bit bigger. We're gonna take off the top couple of inches. Let's just get at it. There's not a whole lot to say. It's just a whole lot of blood, sweat, and tears. Now, for everybody who lives in a place where they have clay, eat your heart out. This is Florida, guys. The land of sand. This is like, that's the easiest digging I've ever done in my entire life. Are you kidding me? And in order to get down past organics, I don't have to go very far. Here we go. As soon as I hit that sand only, I'm out of organics. Wow, I'm looking at 2 inches maybe. That's just fantastic. Let's just see. Yep, that's in the way. Now, if you're not in Florida, organics are an issue. In a project like this, you really want to get rid of anything that has roots because freeze-thaw cycles happen and it'll lift your concrete, it'll crack it. So get down to just clay or just sand or whatever other non-organic material you've got. Now, whenever you're working like this, you're setting up your concrete, you always have to dig a hole bigger than what you're working in. Make sure that you've got room for what you want, plus your barrier, plus your stakes, plus room to maneuver, right? Like, don't make this difficult. Even if it's hard digging, it's worth it to make sure that everything else goes smoothly. It's like any other project, preparation is usually 70 to 80% of the work, and the execution is the easy part. Okay, so square that off, make the landing nice and big so that you can get out of your car and avoid the handrail with your holding groceries. Soft curve towards the driveway, and then back out again. Nice small S-curve. I want this to kind of mimic the way it finishes off at the driveway, so my garden can have a nice soft curve all the way out. Now, The only other thing I got to do, move enough sand out of the way at the joint, because I want to put in my expansion joint. This is key. All right, that is looks like a actual 3.5 inch. We want to put this in not at the height of the slab, a little bit lower. Okay, so we just want to trench that out. It's important. This may not be a 4-season climate, but we get more than just beautiful warm. We get really hot days as well down here, and that means expansion. If things are going to be moving, best to make sure that you've built in expansion joints so they don't get destroyed. Did I mention we're right next to an airport? Yeah, this cut's real easy. Now you can see here, the last slab, they obviously had it framed and the concrete got underneath. Can't use my expansion joint in that environment. That's better. All right, let's try that now. All right. I'm gonna just set this up so that it's sitting about 1/2 inch beneath the concrete. All right. Yeah, that's step 1. Dig the hole, get your expansion joints in there. Next step is we're gonna throw in our stakes. I'm lucky, this particular store I went to, the Home Depot down here, sells these cute little stakes. How awesome is that? So I can actually set them up as often as I need to in order to set up my perimeter. So we're gonna get our hammer out, and first stake we're gonna go right off the corner here. We're gonna use a lot of them because the sand doesn't hold a lot of strength. Now my plan is to use the flashing to create my edge. Like that. And I'm just gonna drive my stakes and make my edge perfect here. All right, so what I'm gonna use is just a pre-drill, some silver screws, nice and simple, just wood screws, guys. Because the stakes are kind of thin, and we're gonna just reach down, pre-drill, we'll put in our drill bit, and throw in our set screw. That's what we're gonna use to hold all that in place. Then when we're done, we'll just be able to rip it all out of the ground, won't be a problem. Because of the wind, and because of the nature of how long this flashing is, I'm making an adjustment to my curve to meet my material. So we're gonna redo a few of these stakes. Better represents the actual curve. I drill all my holes above where my concrete's gonna go. That way I can at least undo the screws after it's set up. Now the reason I'm doing this is 2 parts. One, you've always seen the wooden frames. You see how they grab a 2x4 and they'll level off their surface and all that kind of jazz. And truth of it is, it's never really all that necessary. What I need is to create an actual perfect curve. And so what I did is I went to the building store and I found materials that were already on the market, designed to solve this problem. And I'm choosing to build with those instead of trying to frame a curve with wood. Here we go. This is starting to look like it's gonna work. Now I am not a concrete expert, just for full disclosure, in case you haven't figured it out yet. But I am a big firm believer that a DIYer can solve any problem just by going to a local store and 2 parts blood, sweat, and tears, and 1 part's be creative. That stick was just there to keep it from blowing over in this high wind. Really could use some knee pads over here. This Florida grass is not very forgiving. Like kneeling in sand, which really is exactly what you're doing. All right, and then we got the last one at the edge here. We're gonna just try to drive that in as nice and tight as we can. We get a good finish. So there's our form. Pretty rookie, but it's gonna work. Remember, the goal is just to make sure that the concrete is confined to a space while you're finishing the surface and edging it. That's all it is. Whatever you have to do to make that work, you know, make it happen. There we go, guys. In my experience, whether it's cement or thin set, place the bag, cut his sucker in half. All right, pick up the ends, and it empties out all by itself. Okay, the cleanest way to work with that. Done. Now the instructions call for about 2.5 quarts per bag of water, which is almost exactly identical to 2.5 liters if you're in Canada watching this instruction, which is about 30 seconds of city water pressure in most scenarios. Make a bit of a volcano and off we go to the races. That's 20 seconds. We're gonna start there because I'm nervous. Water pressure isn't the same everywhere. And I'm gonna use the hoe and just drag it through. Drag and push. Makes it nice and slow when you get started. Basically, all that rock got to mix with the Portland cement that's in the bag and the sand. And right there, you can see, I am going to be shy of water. Probably closer to 30 seconds. But by doing it and breaking it up into segments here, this little bucket, which is more designed for mortar than concrete, it gives me the ability to control this mixture. And if I can mix it really nice without having too much water, that just means it sets up quicker. And that's not a big problem. Yeah, but at this point, it's obvious this is just way too dry. We're gonna go 5 more seconds. Important to count this out and make a formula that works for you. Sounds like Armageddon in the background, doesn't it? Now I know a lot of you guys, you know, you've been out there, you've tried mixing this in a wheelbarrow before. I've done this in a little mini mixers, 1 bag at a time. Can I just be really honest here? This is working amazing. This is not hard work. This little bin is giving me a really good result. Not making much of a mess at all. I obviously added a little bit too much water here. I'm also on a hill, so all the water wants to run towards me, which is actually turning out for my benefit because I can get a really good consistent mix here. Well, I think it's a little wet, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's going to be on the bottom part. We'll just take this and pour right in here. Grab the next bag. Typical, you know. I went to the store and I was thinking, you know what? I'll put a nice soft curve on it. It'll look nicer. And then I wanted to go, oh, and extend it out. Never had the square footage up properly. I'm definitely out. I was doing originally a 3x4, which would have been 12 square feet. Now, if you take a look at this, you know, let me just use this as a pointing stick. This would be like a 4-foot mark right here. I haven't taken much off that corner. So I've got another 4x3 cut in half, basically. 6. I need another 4 bags of concrete. Good news is this stuff doesn't set up that fast. I can actually wash my hands, go to the store, get 4 more, come back, and keep on mixing. It hasn't set up too much that we're gonna get a cold joint. In all my years, the one thing I've hated is going to return concrete to the store. It's heavy enough as it is the first time. And these bags don't seem to hold together very well. So if you move them more than once, they almost always open up on you. And they won't return open bags of concrete. Just a quick note. This is the first time I've ever mixed concrete on a hill. This little bit of a slope makes this so much easier. I mean, the consistency in this mix is incredible considering, because it's always flowing in the direction towards me. I'm loving this. If I'm ever using this outside again, I'm gonna throw a couple of 2x4s under the one edge and create that slope, because that's a game changer. All right. That's all I got for now. But before I go to the hardware store, I'm going to comb this out a little bit and give it a quick trowel just to make sure that I got the right idea as far as in my head what I need for space or for material here. That's why I love having the hoe, because you can pull it and push it. It's a magnesium float, okay? It's designed to make things smooth. And this is just a preliminary. early on in the process, just to eliminate it, actually, eliminate the temptation to try and make it perfect. Cement has got a long time that you can play with it unless you buy like a really quick set product. I'm just doing this to get an idea on how much product I need to fill the hole. So I do need to do about a 3 by 4 foot. I'm gonna get the full 4 bags. Because I'm on a hill, life is easy. I'm always gonna have rain running away. Okay, so even if I have extra material, I can incorporate it into the slab and still have good drainage, so I'm not worried about it. Good news for me, Home Depot is only 3 minutes away, so I'll be back in 10 minutes. No different than if I poured 2 more bags of cement. So, one quick note here, one of the biggest challenges I got facing here is because I need that expansion joint, check this out, I also need to manage it. I'm flush at one end, but over here I'm not. Now I gotta fight with this thing to lift this flush. And I'm on my concrete flush with this too, right? So look at what I've got to deal with here. I need another inch here. If I don't, you run the risk of it being a tripping hazard. And anytime you're in construction, tripping hazards are frowned upon. So now this is the time to do this before everything is too set up. Get everything nice and tall, right where you want it, okay? And then we can pull this back again. Just the top. Okay, grab our float. Now we're gonna have a finished concrete surface. That's the same size as the next step to it. Okay, and that is the goal that we're looking for. Right there. Before I make any more, I'm gonna try to pull as much as I can this way and finish off as much of my first coat on this slab as I can. And I see I'm already gonna run into problems getting the height that I want, unless I cut it. Where the other expansion joint is, so I can follow the different slope. Okay, I'm much happier about that. Okay. Let's get a little material over here now. All right, guys, what we're trying to do here is make this as smooth the transition as possible. So the way we use the float, and it's a lot like drywall, start from the rough and work towards the smooth, okay? Work towards the finished area. And really, we're just looking for some continuity. And when I'm just troweling, I'm just moving material, and it smooths out a little bit, okay? But the way that the magnesium float operates is this. Vibration settles all of the smoother particles at the top. So if I just trowel, I get sort of smooth. But if I vibrate, I get a real smooth mixture at the top. All right, and right now all I'm doing is just trying to make sure that the material's in the right place, not worried about how smooth it is. Making sure that when it's done, it has doesn't have dips and valleys and aggressive angles, okay? Make sure that I'm making the right amount of material. Like right here is a bit of a dip. So to fix that, I'm actually gonna push material up here. Okay? Being mindful of the height that I need at this edge. So I comb it uphill, 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 right? And then I'm gonna vibrate down. And you can use a 2x4 and screed it as well. But once you've vibrated it down, when you trowel, look how smooth that surface starts to get. And that is really the goal. Make the surface smooth. As long as there's big rocks in them, you can't do it. So vibrate and trowel. There we go. That gets us 90% of the way there. And as it sets up, it'll start to act more and more and more like a thick paste, like drywall compound, and you can actually start to really trowel and smooth it. For now, I'm happy with that. That gives you an idea of what we're going through. Rule number one when you're working in concrete: clean your tools before you worry about your concrete when you're done mixing. Concrete's not setting up that fast, but your driveway will sure get stained in a hurry. Separating the sand from it with a lot of water, even if you got some dirt left in your driveway, that should pretty much take care of any long-term problem you're gonna have. I really should have my knee pads on, eh? If I was smart. Just gonna vibrate that into that corner there. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm kind of taking material from the left side here, bringing it to the right side. Because I'm more concerned about this lip here. Making sure that it's not gonna be a trip hazard. Okay, there we go. This is not gonna be walked on as much as just having a soft curve helps to create the aesthetic that I want for my garden. Okay, now that's good. Now I know you can see lines, right? That's okay, I'm not done. I'm not walking away and waiting until tomorrow. We're gonna give this about a half an hour to let it set up, let some of the water settle in. We're gonna come back and smooth trowel again with a clean magnesium float. And then we've also got the edger tool. We're gonna show you how to do that next. Okay, so we're gonna use our edger now, and you can see the profile, and it just curves. The idea is you get a soft curve on your concrete finish so that the edges don't tend to break off on contact or harsh weather or whatever the hell else might happen. We're just going to clean the top of our expansion joint. We're going to slide that right in next to it, okay? And we're going to go on an angle here just to prepare the location. And the secret from here is really simple. You want to lift the front edge as you're pulling, seat it, and then lift this edge in the direction you're heading. Okay, that's it. Really is all we're trying to do. We're not trying to do anything too miraculous here. We're just separating curb from edging. And making that part real super smooth. By doing this, like I said, it gives you this great little detail. And if there's too much material in the way, that's what the magnesium float's for. Now we can come back and start floating all this in. And this is just a combination of both tools, working in unison, okay? And I should mention, if your concrete pad that you're working on is larger than 4x8, consider putting an expansion joint to make sure that it has good performance long term. Snow plow. Okay, that's it. We're just going to keep on playing in the mud until we get a finished surface that looks like what we want. Now you'll see over here, it's starting to firm up a little bit. I'm just going to steal some moisture so that I can manipulate that surface. Only one step left is when it does get this smooth and this firm and that dry, give it about 30 minutes or more, and you can come back with room and just gently pull it across and give it some texture, okay? That'll help provide you some anti-slip factor on your concrete. You can actually finish it too much and make it very slippery when it rains. So for us, we're finishing this by painting the entire concrete surface again. We're gonna use a 2-part epoxy, and we're gonna throw in a little bit of sand as well for non-slip, and that'll give us a great result. So I'm not quite as concerned about how perfect this is, as long as I get rid of my ridges. Like I said, the more this sets up, the more this tool makes everything melt together. So you're gonna be just fine. Yep, you guessed it, we're edging everything. Okay, here we go. When you see something you don't like, throw a little extra cement there. Wiggle it in. This is amazing material because you can patch and repair as you go on the fly. Remember, just keep on pulling everything uphill. Anything you don't like, just screed it. There we go. Okay. And when you got it just perfect, throw one more little line in there. Get that detail. Get that edge on there. Once you're happy, this little edge right here, that just makes it look so sexy. That's just my own opinion. All right. It's really hard to do this on a slope.